Longtime CBS actress and Disney actor wed in New Orleans. The young and the restless Cameron Grimes and Brock Powell took it to the Big Easy for their wedding. Keeping it in line with New Orleans tradition, the celebration included a second Line Street parade, a tarot card reading, and freshly baked beignets. The couple spoke with people about their big day. The soap star and voice actor expressed their excitement over their intimate gathering. The young and the restless Cameron Grimes and Brock Powell took it to the Big Easy for their wedding. Keeping it in line with New Orleans tradition, the celebration included a second Line Street parade, a tarot card reading, and freshly baked beignets. The couple spoke with people about their big day. The soap star and voice actor expressed their excitement over their intimate gathering. For them, their wedding meant solidifying our love in front of our friends, family, and our first son Bridger, who was born in December. For Powell, marriage represents a commitment to the best versions of ourselves, each other, and a promise to help make the dreams of the other person become a reality. Grimes and Powell joke that their wedding was a long time coming. They connected in 2020 after meeting during the pandemic lockdowns in Los Angeles. Powell proposed in an up-themed proposal 2 years later. Honestly, my mind was blank and all I could say was, "Oh, my God," over and over again. It was so deeply touching, Grimes told people at the time. The first thing anyone ever noticed about Marina Lorne was her voice. It carried like velvet dipped in sunlight, warm, bright, and somehow comforting even when she played a character whose life was falling apart on national television. For 15 years she'd been the cornerstone of Delta County, CBS's most enduring weekly drama. The critics compared her to legends, the fans called her America's calm. But in private, Marina often felt like the one who needed calming. Fame, she learned, amplified everything: pressure, exes, anxiety, and the never-ending fear that one day someone might realize she was an imposter pretending to be someone worthy of admiration. And then there was Cal O'Brien. Cal's fame came from an entirely different world. The Disney Channel's golden boy-turned-adult actor, with a face that had once adorned lunchboxes and theme park posters across the country. He was the kind of charming that didn't fade with time. It simply matured into something calmer, steadier, like he'd spent his 20s learning how to weld all that charisma into something real. They met by accident, which was funny because everyone insisted the whole thing had been inevitable. It was a June afternoon in Los Angeles, the type where the sunlight felt rehearsed and the smog hung low like a stage curtain. Marina had escaped a miserable production meeting and ducked into a tiny cafe that served coffee so strong it felt like a dare. She was reviewing script pages when someone tripped, spectacularly, over her backpack, arms flailing, the universe briefly considering sending them face-first into the concrete. Instead, Cal O'Brien caught himself by grabbing her table, jolting her cappuccino, half apologizing before she even understood the chaos. "I'm so sorry," he said, straightening. "The backpack, it attacked me. Viciously." Marina blinked. "I'll have it arrested." He laughed, the sound disarming. They ended up sharing a table because the cafe was crowded, then a conversation because silence felt somehow impolite, then their numbers because it felt somehow necessary. Everyone knew the next part. The tabloids turned it into mythology, the internet turned it into edits and fan cams. But Marina and Cal always said they fell in love in the quiet moments. When she memorized his coffee order, when he learned the names of all her plants, when she called him in the middle of the night not because something was wrong but because something finally felt right. 2 years later they decided to get married. But not in Malibu or Napa or Manhattan or any of the places their publicists suggested with aggressive enthusiasm. No, Marina wanted magic. Cal wanted joy. And both wanted a wedding untouched by the press, the noise, the machinery of their industry. So they chose New Orleans. Not the Bourbon Street chaos tourists imagined, but the quieter, historic version, old brick courtyards blooming with jasmine, wrought iron balconies, and street corners that felt like scenes from half-remembered dreams. They booked Maison du Roc, a centuries-old mansion in the French Quarter, all moss-soaked stone and half-moon windows. They kept the guest list small: childhood friends, family, a handful of castmates who felt more like siblings. And then they let the city work its enchantment. The day before. It rained the day before the wedding, one of those warm, moody southern rains that seem to wash the streets clean and polish the air with the smell of magnolia petals. Marina stood on a balcony overlooking the courtyard, her robe wrapped loosely around her, curls pinned up. The sky rumbled, soft thunder folding into itself like an old dog settling down. "You okay?" asked her best friend, Lila, stepping out with 2 cups of chicory coffee. Marina accepted one gratefully. "Define okay." Lila smirked. "On a scale from 1 to runaway bride?" "Maybe a 2, Marina admitted, then sighed. "I keep thinking, what if I'm not enough for him? What if he wakes up one day and realizes he could have married someone who grew up knowing they were allowed to be happy?" Lila nudged her. "Cal isn't marrying your confidence level. He's marrying your soul. And from personal experience, your soul is a good one." "Corny." "Correct. But also true." Marina smiled into her coffee. The warmth grounded her. Across the courtyard, Cal was laughing with his brother, practicing the dance he absolutely shouldn't be attempting while holding a bottle of champagne. Marina felt her breath loosen. Sometimes it really was that simple. 2. The morning of. The wedding morning dawned gold. Sunlight streamed through the lace curtains, turning the dust particles into shimmering dancers in the air. A brass band down the street played a slow warm-up, soft trumpets weaving through the early silence. Marina sat before the mirror, her makeup artist applying foundation with the tender concentration of a painter restoring something sacred. Her gown hung on a wooden door nearby, silk layered lightly like ripples of moonlight, with sleeves that brushed her wrists and embroidery that looked like tiny gleaming constellations. Not flashy. Not dramatic. Just hers. Somewhere in the mansion, she heard Cal's voice echo with laughter, and for a moment her heart felt like it might float out of her chest. "You're glowing," the makeup artist said. "I'm terrified," Marina confessed. "That's part of glowing." 3. Cal's moment. Cal adjusted his jacket for the 17th time. "It's a jacket, not a Rubik's Cube," his brother said. "It's trying to kill me." "You're projecting." Cal groaned. I can't shake the feeling that today is too good to be real. What if something goes wrong?" His brother placed a hand on his shoulder. "You broke your ankle on national television when you tried to skateboard off that fake castle during your Disney stunt show. And people still loved you. I think you can survive a wedding." Cal laughed despite himself.